First up here at 9:30, what it takes to catch a killer. We are taking you inside the Mesa Crime Lab for an exclusive look at this place where all the evidence for one of Arizona's most infamous cases was analyzed. Carey Pena takes us inside now.
The glove, the knife, the O.J. Simpson trial was the first trial to be watched around the clock, and it was that trial that really put the crime lab and forensic evidence in the spotlight. Fast forward now, nearly 20 years, the crime lab here in Mesa uncovered the DNA that helped convict Jodi Arias.
A bloody crime scene, a murdered man, and a mystery that caught the nation's attention. These pictures told the story of Travis Alexander's final hours after he was stabbed and shot by Jodi Arias.
And that came down to, at that crime scene, documenting every aspect of that scene. You don't know what's important, but it's your one chance to see visually everything that's in that scene.
The crime scene investigators who documented in graphic detail what happened inside Alexander's home back in June of 2008 work here at the Mesa Crime Lab. Kimberly Fiorucci is head of forensic services.
There is so much focus on what happens in this lab.
Right.
And labs like this across the country.
And I have to admit, it is exciting to work here.
We were given exclusive access to the lab.
Our evidence is stored in our walk-in freezer.
All of the evidence that helped convict Jodi Arias was stored here in this freezer. As they do in every case, the techs scan each item looking for DNA.
For example, if we were given a shoe in the lab and they said, we want DNA on it, you would say, okay, do you want who wore the shoe? Do you want blood that's on the shoe? So there's a couple different things. Do you want the tread mark to see if that was the print that was left behind on the bottom of the shoe?
Solving mysteries. Fiorucci says she fell in love with that idea back in high school while reading Patricia Cornwell novels.
When I was actually in high school, I read books like that. Back when I went to school, crime labs weren't very publicized and they weren't very known.
Now there is increasing demand for DNA evidence. In this lab alone, there are 350 cases pending. But Fiorucci points out their job is not to solve the case for police or prosecutors. Their job is to find out what the science shows.
So if it's not beneficial to the prosecution and it's beneficial to the defense, that's okay, and vice versa. So we don't really go in with a mentality that we're trying to help solve a case for one side or the other.
In the case of Jodi Arias, despite her repeated denials,
I need to be honest, and the evidence is very compelling, but none of it proves that I committed a murder.
DNA discovered in this crime lab told the story of what really happened in June of 2008. Hair and bloody prints found inside Alexander's home belonged to Arias. DNA also indicated that one bloody print was a mixture of Arias's and Alexander's DNA.
What's the probability that that could be off?
If you're talking in the quintillions, so it's 1 in 18 zeros, you're over 1 million times the Earth's population.
Because of that DNA evidence and the extensive photos taken at the crime scene, Jodi Arias eventually changed her story and admitted that she killed Travis Alexander.
To this day, I can hardly believe I was capable of such violence.
While she was convicted of first-degree murder, she's about to get another trial to decide whether she should live or die. And once again, the work being done in this quiet lab in Mesa will be on display for all the world to see.
Really interesting. Being inside that lab in Mesa has a huge caseload, as I mentioned, as more and more detectives are asking for DNA analysis. But this lab has been able to get some grant money in recent years to buy equipment that now helps them analyze the DNA. So they're doing lots of good work there in Mesa.